Welcome back to the Titans podcast on DC Studios Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, and today we'll be discussing the second part of Titans Season 4. I have with my host with me, Andy from the Flash Podcast, and everything basically is the captain. You know, Andy. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's bittersweet what we're about to do. It's because I've been every year for 4 years we've done advanced reviews, we did advanced one, and I'm like I didn't think that we would do our last one so soon, but here we are.
I know. It's kind of crazy to me that we've gotten such a good season and it's coming to an end soon. My mind is like, but yeah, ready to talk about the episode. Do we want to talk about some news?
Um, I guess we can. We've last time we were all together, we did the discussions about DC Studios, what's coming up, which includes a rebranding of this podcast. Um, I'm actually blanking. What it was the new item we were supposed to talk about? Sorry, it's been a long day.
No, you're fine. We can talk about it either when we actually review the episode. But we have I know the Blue Beetle trailer dropped. That looks amazing. I'm very excited to see this kind of. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm not a big Blue Beetle reader, but the movie looks really, really, really fun. And it's kind of highlighting a Latino family, so that's really cool. And it does give me like Miss Marvel show vibes because I really
Yes.
the best thing about Miss Marvel is the family aspect of it and how close they all were, and it just was really warm and welcoming. I'm getting that same vibe from Blue Beetle, so I think this is going to appeal to families quite a bit. Plus, it seems like DC is actually going to throw some weight behind it and actually promote it. So hopefully this movie does well because it seems like a lot of fun. But I'm excited. Go check out the trailer. It was released like a couple days ago. And yeah, I think that was the last big thing that we got from DC.
Yeah. Yeah, because on the CW, like not, we're it's just like we're just watching it's like watching like an old house getting deconstructed and like put taken down. And it's like, okay, they've done the second floor now. Now they're doing third one. Now that they're going to break, and now they're going to do the fourth floor. Okay, they're about to blow the roof, and yeah, there's a reason why DC Studios podcast will be a bigger focus here on the DC Podcast Network, and but yeah, are we so today, when people are watching or listening to this, it is Mars, and it's not Mars, it's Monday, April 10th, and we are now 3 days away from
It's
the mid-season premiere of Titan Season 4, Part 2.
Wait, it's Monday, April 10th. Yes, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's not. Anyway.
Yeah, we're recording this early so that you guys can have this ready for Monday. And I don't think that's a spoiler to reveal that we're actually in the past when you're watching this.
Yes, we're going to try to keep this spoiler light, or definitely not revealing like huge things. So a lot of stuff goes down in the second part, so we're going to do our best not to. But we really want to go in completely blind. Just don't listen.
Yeah, if you want to go, yeah, exactly, because yeah, there's a lot to digest. Where do you want to start, Captain?
I guess we can just talk our general reactions, like to the second half. Like, when you look at the season as a whole, how do you feel about season 4, like complete from episodes 1 to 12?
Yeah, I would definitely say that again, because we've never had a season of Titans before where they split it up and we go away for so many months. Like it's really strange, but now having rewatched part 2 a few times and then gone back to part 1, I can say that this, again, there are some issues, but this is the best season of Titans. I feel like it's I'm glad we get to end on a strong final season that feels like a Titan show, because I know that I'm sure you and I talked about it off air before, but it's like this show has always been a constant creative flux of like relying on Batman characters, but also wanting to do Teen Titans stuff, but then also having too many characters. But this season, I feel like if we could have got another season and it could have been like this, I think it would have been really, really good. What about you?
I completely agree. I am I've been like, this whole season has been a delight for me as like both a Titans enjoyer, but also a comic book fan, because we got so many like little name drops and callbacks and just things that sometimes I'm just still so used to things being held back from the CW shows that it's always like, whoa, when we actually get stuff in the Titan show. So it's just really, really nice. And I think this season how I had the most, it felt like the most comic booky. It felt like, but the characters had matured. They felt like they were a connected family. They felt lived in. Like I actually cared about what every character was doing, because there weren't 20 characters all over the place. Last season was like so hard for me to keep track of and care about so many different things. This season I felt like more tightly focused, and I was kind of worried that like the second half wouldn't live up to the first half. And honestly, there's this one little scene in the last episode that I was like, I think this was supposed to originally air in December, because it was weird to include that scene when it's going to be airing in April. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? So I think this originally was supposed to, the whole season was originally supposed to air and end by the end of December, and they just moved it for some reason. So I think the split was a bit jarring, but for me, it didn't like take away any momentum. Like when we get to episode 7, we hit the ground running straight into action. And I think it was just, everything was just really well done. I'm so happy and impressed with everyone. And it seems like everyone was having fun too. Especially the guy who plays Connor Kent. What's his name?
Josh Orpen.
Yeah, he was seen chewing the house down. He was just like all over. Like I really, really had a lot of fun watching him this season, because I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like I think when he first was introduced, he was just so super awkward to me. Like he wasn't like, I think this is his first acting job, right? Maybe.
Like first, I think he'd done like a few like short films or something in Australia before this, but like this is like his first, not only his first major TV gig, it's his first, I think, TV gig in total, like as a series regular and so on.
And you could tell when he was first introduced, but like it feels like he really grew into the role, and like he's so comfortable with it. Like I think he's probably growing into one of the better actors on the show. So I'm really impressed with him. I think almost everyone got really meaty things to work with this season. I will say that I think for a season about Brother Blood and Trigon and Mother Mayhem, I feel like they could have done more with Raven. As I've watched the whole thing, I think we could have done more with her. It feels like her connection with Brother Blood was underused. Like there were some cool parts that they used it with, like, the stuff that was happening, like the injuries and things like that. That was interesting, but I feel like they didn't do enough with it. Like I thought they were setting up a point where she was gonna like, but they were so focused on
Yeah. So, I guess we could. Yeah, I guess we could say that Raven doesn't die, definitely. So
no,
we get to keep our we get to keep that that amazing heroine of ours. I would say, yeah, because I think there could have been more, but I'm glad from all the things we did get with Rachel and Brother Blood. It's great material. Joseph Morgan and Tian Croft work really well off each other, and also for any Joseph Morgan fans out there that just loves seeing him get loose or whatever, like get ready, because there is, I mean, I've seen a little bit of the originals with him as Klaus. There's things that he does in this season and I don't think Klaus would have been able to do on the CW, because the CW, I think that says it for itself. But no, but I'm happy that Brother Blood got to come in this season, and we had someone as great and powerful as Joseph getting to play him. But I agree with you very much that there could have been more, and I think my own, because I have very few criticism about these last 6 episodes, and I think for me one of them is that I think this season could have benefited from one extra episode or two. Like this was not the season to go from 13 to 12. I felt we could have benefited from 13 or 14, or do full 1 hour long episodes. I would say that some of these episodes are a little longer than usual, which I think is great. But like, I think it should have been like either an extra episode or two in the pickup, or every episode should have been like 1 hour long.
Mhm.
Um, but I get it. David Zaza is cheap right now. He doesn't want to spend money. Um, I hope he's not this cheap with his own family, whatever. So he's like, not no, no, honey, we gotta do tax write downs. So we can't go, we can't have Christmas this year. Um, but going back to Titans, yeah, yeah, it gets this feels like a Titans show by the time you get to the end of the season, like the most it ever has been,
Mhm.
and definitely leaves you wanting more. So that's why I'm hoping in some miracle that maybe James Gunn would be like, you know, what if we didn't end? What if we continued somehow?
Mhm.
How about you? How them? I mean, did you feel to you leaving you wanting more after the sixth
Oh,
episode?
1000%, especially like that scene at the very end, not the very last scene, but the like, where the music swells and like it was just a
Hmm.
really I was like sobbing, sobbing. I was like, why can't we have a whole season of this?
Yeah, I
Like, why
know.
was so emotional.
Uh, I
Yeah.
guess I mean maybe we can tease. I mean, I think the final scene will make a certain fandom very happy. Um, you
Yeah, we
you
can talk
know
about
who.
a couple we can talk
Yeah, yeah.
about
Okay. So DickKory fans, this is for you because let's get into DickKory.
yeah. It's a lot of goodness that we
There's gonna
got.
be a lot of smiles and gifs and edits and more. I think leading to more fan fiction. There is if you're a DickKory fan, you will be pretty happy by the end of the season.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. It was so masterfully done, like masterfully acted by both Brenton and Anna. Like he just does this thing where he like the camera lingers on his face while he like lingers on her. Like he's just watching her. After she's done with the conversation, she walks away or she's doing something else, and he's just like eyes just like he's just like lingering on her. They do that so much in the second half. They did it a lot in the first half. I noticed, but I feel like someone, gift makers out there, or whoever's making the fan cam, you guys need to find every single scene of him doing that because he does it quite a bit. Like, and it's just such a good act. He's just that longing. Oh, like it's so good, and they like their chemistry is so good, and she's so confident and he's like becoming more unhinged at the thought, because we all know from the first half that there was the prophecy that like Starfire would have to die, or like they're all gonna die. Like there's this whole thing. So he's just like, we're not gonna make it come true. It's not gonna happen. It's not happening. It's not happening. And she's just like, it is, we got to figure out how to stop this. It is what it is. So like it just the pull between the two of them when they're kind of is just so good. Like it's just so good. So
Yeah, I would say because listen, I do click on the hashtag and see what some of you fans are saying sometimes, and the Dick and Ted and Carol and Corey episode, uh, it's definitely very important for them going forward.
yes.
And there's one scene in particular that I think will speak so much to the growth of one of these two in particular, and there's some good callbacks, and I mean, and also because I feel like it's kind of, you know what it made me think. It made me think a little. It made me feel a little more of Grant and Candace's vibes from season one of The Flash, like like yeah, like Brent, at this point, I'm just gonna assume that Brendan just watched he Netflix some Flash season one, and was like, "Oh, I could have that too." But yeah, I will say this for anyone who has any doubts, thinking that somehow there's still any feelings for Barbara or for Dawn for whatever reason, it's always been Corey.
Dick don't
So
even we don't even linger on any other woman. Dick is
yeah,
focused. Dick
he's doing his like, what are the girls?
yeah, exactly. He's focused on one person. Um, and it makes him make poor decisions. Like he's not the leader he's supposed to be because he's too concerned about making sure that she's good. And I think that that's obviously very romantic. But I also am like, bro, get it together, focus. Like she's just like, I know what I gotta do, but he's just like, no. Like I love that. I love that like the cool, confident, like woman, and then the like dude who's just falling, he's just a disorganized mess falling apart. I just love that kind of like dynamic, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, I think the Corey's shippers are gonna be really happy. The Ted and Corey or the Ted and Carol episode, so much fun. I think they probably had the most fun in that episode because there was actually some really fun comedic like timing that we got to have, and they were in really cute outfits. Dick in a pink shirt with that was the first time I think I was like, oh, Brendan is that his arms are massive. Like I don't
oh, now she gets sad. Like it's not
fine.
like I've been
He's
trying to
not
tell
like
her.
he's fine, but like that was like the big arms in the picture. I was like,
Hmm.
yeah.
I can't say this on YouTube, so I'm gonna move on. But I listen. I have a total crush on Nightwing. I definitely do, and yeah, Dick. Yeah, and I'm sure. Listen, because DickKory fans, we love you. We love talking to you on Twitter. So I'm sure you will probably come up with follow up questions,
Yes.
and we will. If there's anything we can say again, because we have to be very careful. But if there's anything we can say, we will try our best to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely want to like 'cause there will be chapter markers in the video. So like, trust me, I will make one that says, "DickKory, let's talk."
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's talk about Beast Boy. He's who is one of our absolute favorites, and I have because I was a little confused first why they switched the episodes around because 9 was supposed to be 7,
Mm-hmm.
but now after watching the whole half of the season, I understand why,
Yeah.
and I
Same.
think I feel like it feels safe to say that episode 9 is probably one of the all-time best Titus episodes of entire series that is going to be extremely crucial for the when you guys see episode 9 the week it airs, it's going to start setting up things for these final couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like because I think you felt this way a lot during the past 3 seasons, is that Beast Boy deserved a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
We have a fine star, a foreign star in Ryan K. Potter,
Mm-hmm.
and I am so happy that he got this episode, that he got to do this episode, he got to work on that as a writer, and because it is, and I feel like even for DSTV, it's a step up in character studies that we've had in a very, very long time. Would you feel that too?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're seeing more of his depth. We never explored Beast Boy before, and I think part of the issue with Beast Boy's iterations is because he's always the goofy comedic relief, so you don't ever have to dive in deeper than that. But with Young Justice and this version, they really go deep into figuring out why you are the way you are, or what happened to you. And I think Ryan did a really good job. He wrote part of this episode, right? I believe.
Mm.
Yeah, and you can tell because this episode took more care of like telling Gar's story and focusing on his face and focusing on his reactions and giving him space to just be. There were some of his best acting moments, like the scene in the cave where like there was a multiple of him, and like he had different reactions. There was like it was just really cool to see him acting in a way, just going off. We got to see him do. We got to see like a lot of different animals. I know that's a spoiler, but I'm not gonna tell you what
I
animals.
think that's okay because we know he can. I think this point it's like listen, Titus, y'all are smart. You know that this man can transform into different animals. So
We
it's
actually get to see it though on screen. It's so
yeah,
cool. Like there's a
yeah.
scene that is amazing, amazing. Like probably one of my favorite hallway fight scenes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I guess we could say it is kind of like the Daredevil hallway scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but with metahumans.
with the metahumans and green.
It's
Um,
so cool. There's a lot of visually cool shit in this episode. Like, it's just really good. I agree with Andy. I think that this episode is probably one of the best, not only best Titans episode, but probably one of the best DC TV episodes because it had action, it had trauma, like tragedy, like there was high stakes, there was storytelling, there was comic book aspects. Like it was actually a very good DC TV show episode, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be included in like those montages of like what are the best episodes DC TV
it
episodes.
will 100%,
It's gonna be in
100%.
that. It's that good. It's like it's kind of iconic, and that's not even like going into like I just there was a by the time I got to the end, I was just screaming. Like I was like, what?
Mhm.
You guys
Yeah,
have no idea. Like you guys have, and when you watch, you have felt this before, but you have no idea.
you have no idea what's coming.
You have no idea what's
Yeah,
coming. It's going
and
to
I
be
know.
epic.
Yeah, because I know, like, I've sometimes been, like, when I've given some of my advanced thoughts about, like, Flash, for example, this season, like, people have said, like, overhyped them, but, like, there's no way with this thing that's about to happen that we can overhype it. I think that it's gonna what's coming in this episode is coming at a time where I know for us DC fans, we've been going for a very rough patch with
Mhm.
what's going on. So by this is I will give you a keyword: celebration.
Yeah.
Have fun speculating in the comment section.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you will. I mean, you will know it when you see it. Like it's one of those things. It's like you can't misunderstand that. You can't miss that. Like you're gonna see that. Oh my god, how did they get away with doing all that? And also Vanessa's school of you felt this before.
Mhm.
Have fun speculating, and you're not gonna have to wait long.
I
It
felt
will.
this feeling before, and
Yeah.
it's so good.
And you will feel, and even you're not gonna have to wait long because again, episode 9 airs later this month. You get 7 and 8 together, and then
Oh
9.
yeah,
So yes,
that's true.
so
Yeah.
me and Vanessa, we just have to keep our mouths shut for just a little bit longer. Me, it's
Yeah.
been more frustrating as I've had to wait since the fall.
Fair.
So I'm tired. I'm tired. Like, see, like I'm old now. I've lost hair because of it. Like it's like that's. I'm kidding, but like it's I. Whether you're crying or smiling at like this will make you feel so much, and I think that what Ryan and the creative team for Titans did with this episode is, you know, I'm proud of that he got to really be part of this and that he
Mhm.
got to help do something for Beastwood that I feel like we haven't gotten for a while because Ryan Potter, like when this show was announced and they cast all these characters, like Ryan was the biggest star. Like he was the D1, like he was the one everyone knew who he was. And I feel like this show hasn't always done service to the Beats what they way it should. But this episode is like, again, like when I said, it's gonna be part of montages. It's gonna be like if for Flash fans, if I who watch me from the Flash, but if I had to compare this, like, think of this as their Enter Flash Time episode in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, like it's not like verbatim, but it's like it does.
It has those vibes though. Yeah. Enter Flash Time.
It,
I was like trying to remember which one that was. That was the bomb one, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
where
Yeah. They had to like.
uh,
Yeah.
and what Bear says, like you're my lightning rod, Iris, and
Yeah. That was a wonderful episode. Wonderfully done. What season was that? 4?
4, yeah,
That was and so wild to think like that episode was in that season because that season was goofy as hell.
yeah. That was a season 4 was season 4 of the. That's the nicest way I can put it.
Very goofy.
What else do we want to talk about?
I want to talk about Corey. So for the Corey fans, so we all know Starfire is like my girl. It's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. And I remember tweeting last year after season 3 was over, I was like, I'm done with Titans. I'm never watching it again. I cannot believe they keep doing this to Starfire. Like, I want better for my girl, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can tell you confidently that they do better for our girl this season. Like they do the centering around her of like, this ancient age old tension between Trigon and Tamarinians, which I wish was I want explored a little bit more, but Starfire being the center of it and being the one that needs to do the thing and getting this really cool. I mean, Anna already spoiled it, so I'm not going to spoil it here, but if you know it, she already spoiled it. But something amazing and epic happens with Starfire, and that was her big moment, but there was some really cool smaller moments that I was geeking out over with her and a certain character, a little flirty that wasn't Dick. I was screaming. I was screaming. It was so cute, guys. These episodes are so good. Like,
yeah,
each episode had something that I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, it just, I really feel like they wrote this as a love letter to certain characters, especially Starfire, Beast Boy, and Superboy. Like, they really had strong, just a lot of my favorite moments include them, So I just, Starfire fans, we gonna be real happy. I was real happy, especially after how disappointed I was after last season. Like, they could not have done anything better, honestly, in my opinion, for me. So, yeah.
No, I get that. I feel the same. Like, I feel like Ana Dia has been one of the greatest aspects of the show since the beginning. In this season, this half of the season really leaves you seeing that, okay, again, there's, of course, I wish there was more, but we know these are the final 6 episodes. But like, yeah, like, I feel like there's a big empowering of Starfire this season, and I agree everything Vanessa said. It's just, that character she has an interaction with again, and DickKory friends, don't worry, she like again, DickKory is Seth. It's happening, but like, it is fun because I think a lot of you guys probably wouldn't have expected this type of dynamic or interaction. Like, it is so hard to do that. Like, you guys will understand, because we're not doing this for the views or for the camera. It's like,
no,
when you've seen these episodes, you will understand why Andy and Vanessa had to, like, basically hold on to their chair and be like, don't spoil anything. Like, it is there's and I want to talk about this for a second. Like, the visuals of this back half of the season, like, it's a step up. Like,
right? Like, what happened? Because there was one scene, and I was like, oh, this is gonna look crappy, but it actually looked kind of good. It was just like such a small scene. It was that one where where Dick and Raven were doing the thing with the
and then
the thing, and so I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible CGI, but it actually wasn't bad. And I was like,
I wondered,
moment, I was like, that's actually, and it was creepy, and it was like really good. So I was like, I'm surprised that they I don't know if they gave them a increased budget for this back, or they just saved most of it for the back half.
That would make more sense to me, because there's like, they just do so much in this back half that I'm like, okay, I think they definitely saved. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I know which visual sequence I love the most, but we can't talk about it. But it's like, it's there's so much good things coming. And I think that is to say that, like, as much as it sucks that we're losing the show, we get to celebrate the show in the best way that it has ever been made before. Like, like, I know for season 9 viewers of The Flash, I know it's been bumbly. But like, I feel like if you're a Titans fan, I think you'll be very, very happy.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the best finales I think I've ever watched. I don't know when's the last time I've been satisfied by a series finale.
Yeah, because I don't think you felt anything for the Black Lightning series finale that much.
Like I said, I don't know when the last time a series finale made me that happy. Yeah, I am like legitimately trying to remember, but I was like bouncing, like legitimately. My husband was like changing our daughter last night, changing her diaper, and I was just like bouncing around, like dancing and singing. He's like, "You're in a good mood." I'm like, "That episode was so good." Like it really good, especially those last two scenes, the very last two scenes of the episode. It just made me, I just swelled up. Like it was so good. And I just haven't had that feeling about a series finale in a long time. Because usually you're just like, you're overwhelmed with sadness or whatever. And maybe I will feel sad when the actual show ends because it technically hasn't ended yet.
Yeah.
But I was like floating yesterday. I was like, that's how good it was to me.
No, I was the same. I mean, first, when I completed the season, like there was tears because I'm like, it's over, and it
Mhm.
was so good. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm glad we got, like, because at least now, because like I said, it's been a rough season, a rough year for us DC fans with everything that's been going on. So
Yeah.
to be able to walk away with it, like, like, hey, remember that year when we had a really great season of Titans? Like, I've loved Titans for the most part. I think there's been some shakiness along the first three seasons. So, but I think generally, like, Titans is a solid show, but this is the best season, and like, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if somehow James Gunn looks at that and like, I want to continue with some of these characters, and he looks on this season, I would understand why he would want to, because like I think there's a lot of more potential to be utilized. Like I can't imagine anyone else as Nightwing and Starfire and Raven and Beast Boy and Superboy. I keep wondering, maybe like, the more I look at Josh, I'm keep thinking, you know, him as the new Superman of the DC universe wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
It would
Superman.
be,
Superman.
he's young. He's young, so there's one character we need to talk about. I think it is we need to talk about
Damn!
him, Drake.
I've been talking shit about him all season, and he finally did something. It happened a little bit too late for my liking, but I am glad that we see Tim evolve, blossom. And yes, everyone knows that Jason Todd doesn't make an appearance in this season. And I know some people were like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" But I actually liked the way they brought him back. I thought it was really tightly focused, cute little bat bro thing going on. I enjoy. I enjoy. I think in small doses, I do enjoy Kieran, his Jason Todd. Also, to be fair, it's not a him thing. I just don't really like Jason Todd as a character that much. Sorry.
That's okay. He's just my son. It's just fine.
I like some iterations of him, but like I do like the DC Rebirth Red Hood and the Outlaws with Artemis and Bizarre. Like I love that run. That is the only version of Jason Todd I like. I don't actually really like him that much. He might be my least liked Batboy. I'm sorry.
There's
But
still Damian Wayne.
Damian, he used to be my most disliked Batboy, but he's evolved over the last few years, and I've enjoyed more stuff with him in it. Because usually I'd be like, "Oh, he's here," because when they introduced him, he was like a misogynistic little shit. Like he was so awful. But like lately, as he grows up, he's a little bit better and he's more tolerable. But he was just a mean little 7-year-old when he first came. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I really did like the Tim stuff. It felt like would I prefer some of his story been given to other characters? Sure, but also I'm like, whatever. They love to have a Robin on a Titans team, so it's fine. It worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, when he becomes Robin, which is, that's not a spoil. We know that's coming. It's like, I wish we spent a little more time. But the thing is, like, listen, we watch a comic book show where we accept that superpowers is a thing. So we gotta suspend our disbelief a little bit. And like the fact is that Jay is like, he is phenomenal as Tim Drake, and he is phenomenal
Yeah.
as Robin, and that suit moves so beautifully. Like it is here's the thing. I'm hoping that James Gunn also reaches out to Laura Jean Shannon and her amazing costume department team of like,
They did so well.
let's keep working, because like if DC Universe doesn't take advantage of working with them, the boys is gonna get them completely at this point.
I was gonna say the costume, everything is on point in this show. There are no bad costumes. There isn't even bad outfits. Have you seen what they've been putting Starfire in? Sorry. I know there's like a team and stuff, and they do different things, but everyone whose job it is to put clothes on those people, A+. A++, because you guys do a great job, whether they're in their civilian clothes or whether they're in their or a fight or their uniforms. Excellent. Everything looks really good. Like I don't think I have any complaints about like even season one. I loved Starfire's look in season one. Everyone was complaining about how she looked like a prostitute, whatever. I fucking loved it. It was very giving. It was giving 80s. It was, and which is where when she premiered was her creation was 1986. It was giving that. Like I really I fucks with the costume design team heavy because they did a really good job, especially this season. They did a great job.
Yeah, and with the Robin suit, like, cause I like the one thing I never liked with the original Robin costumes in the show were the capes and the fact it gets to be all this flowy and everything. It's man, like I don't know how they can top it for future. I feel like it's equivalent of like of just like how good the Nightwing suit is, how good the Starfire suit is. Like I can't imagine other versions of them. So yeah, so Tim, I think he gets like, and here's a good tease we can get fast is that we know he's always been a very very smart character. This back of the season makes it abundantly clear that he is a smart ass. Like he is brilliant,
He's very smart.
and so I feel like they really honor it a lot in the back half of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and some good stuff with Bernard and Tim as well coming up. A little, also a little tension, but like there's big scene in the early part of the second half of the season that is very comedic, and like the music choice is very hilarious, and I'm just like, and it's like, but like when they once they go through with something, it's like this was great watching, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
oh man, I forget something how hard these reviews are to make
I
sometimes.
know because you're like, I want to give details.
Yeah, which we have made reason to listen to the Tires podcast for these upcoming episodes. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
I think we covered pretty much everything. I mean, we don't really need it. Anything we discuss with Brother Blood or Mother Mayhem specifically is going to be a spoiler.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think they're the great villains, etc. But yeah, I think we covered all the big stuff that I wanted to cover.
yeah. I
And
would say if I had to get a rating, I guess I would probably give this back half of the season like a 4.5 out of 5. And
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, the only that I'm not giving a full 5 is like I felt because again, and I feel like this is out of the show's control because like I don't think they knew maybe this was gonna be the final season, but they didn't know
Yeah.
completely. But like there's a little things that got rushed, but it's like I'm glad we get them at all because I
Hmm.
rather go walk away from the show knowing that I got the things that I knew I had on my list than being like, ugh, why didn't we get that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I think they checked almost all my boxes. Like, would it have been nice to have seen Roy Harper on the show at some point? Yeah,
yeah,
but spoiler alert, he does not appear in the back half of
yeah,
this.
no Roy Harper sadly.
Neither does Wally West. It would be really cool to see this version of Titans with those two added in, and Wonder Girl back. But honestly, we got as good as we were gonna get, and we got a very improved version of Titans. And that I have nothing but good. I have some obviously some like critiques that I will be talking about later on when we can actually get into details, um, especially about the main motivation of the villains because it did get a little bit convoluted. Um, but overall, yeah, this was an A- season for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Well, I guess that's gonna be it for us then. We will be back with new episodes this week. With us and the whole gangs covering episodes 7 and 8, and then one episode each leading up to May 11th when the series finale airs on HBO Max. And then 2 weeks later, Flash fans, we lose our show too.
Oh wait, can we do a live recording for the last episode of Titans?
Maybe we could.
We
We
said
could
it was
maybe do that.
celebratory,
Yeah, maybe. If you guys would be up for a live show, leave some comments below or tweet at us, like because you know, I think that could be fun.
I want to
Although,
I was chatting with the DickKory fans. They have been so good. Like I really enjoy that family.
Yeah, that's been one of my favorite parts of the season of just conversing with DickKory fans out there, and because listen, like I'm all about my ships, and on this show, like Dick and
Yeah,
Corey are my number one OTP,
yeah.
and and if the powers to be ever listens to me, I will bring Grant, Candace, Brendan, and Anna together somehow for something.
It would be
Um,
cute.
I think the only thing is I can almost imagine Barry and Dick almost accidentally fall in love with each other. Because I do, like, in my canon they are bisexual. Um,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, we could do a live thing for the series
I mean,
finale.
Grant Gustin technically said he thinks that Brett Barry Allen's canonically bisexual. He said if he wasn't going to be with Iris, he would be with Cisco. Flash vibe, flash vibe. Anyway.
Yeah, I wonder how a certain fandom felt when Grant said they must have been really, really angry that he didn't say the person that he always wanted him to say. It's not Iris, but sucks to be you, I guess. Vanessa, where at on social media and all the other projects that you do?
You can find me at Vanessa Shark on everything. VanessaShark.com is where I kind of update about my life. I am a contributor to Multiverse of Color. I'm doing comic book reviews, which is super exciting for me. If you know me, I love reading and talking about comics. So I am doing that. Just I've Untitled Doom Patrol, just reviewed Poison Ivy, and we'll be doing more. I'm super excited. Dawn of DC has lots of new initiatives. Green Arrow's coming back. Superman has an ongoing. Cyborg's getting his own ongoing. Hawkgirl's getting her own ongoing. Like this is exciting era for like characters that we don't see very much or like haven't led their own books in a while. Like we haven't seen a cyborg book in a while. So I'm super excited to write about all of it. Thank you to Andy for
Of course.
giving me that opportunity. So yeah, and I also host DC Studios podcast. So all the shows that are coming, I'm going to be watching most of them. So I'll probably be you'll probably hear me on other shows.
She's the captain of this podcast.
I'll record every day if I have to. Just kidding. But
The
yeah,
lucky thing about them is that they're not going to air all the same time. That's kind of what's
thank
nice.
God.
Unlike the CW, where like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
I
Thursday.
know, right? I know. I remember the old school days, and the Arrowverse would take up the entire week, Sunday through Thursday.
Oh my
Every
god!
day I had a show to watch. I was like, this is insane. Anyway,
Mhm.
you also follow me or follow at Lituation Room. I recorded with Nate, Brittany, Clement, and assorted others like Keenan and Andy sometimes pops up. And those are all my projects. What about you, Andy?
What am I doing? I do too much. I'm at Andrew Bite on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Vero, Twitch, everywhere at Andrew Bite. Thankfully there isn't a lot of Andrew Bites out there. So like wherever you can find me, that's my handle. I am also co-host of the Flash podcast, which we're heading into our final 6 episodes of the series, which it is something to feel. I feel personally attacked by Warner Bros. Television and the CW and HBO Max for scheduling Titans and Flash to end on the same month. No, I'm not, obviously I'm kidding, but it's like it's gonna be a lot. Like I have a lot of therapy appointments, I think, for the summer to go to. You can also find me at Screen Rant as a senior writer, where I do interviews and news constantly. I am also the editor-chief of Multiverse of Color, which is now what DC Podcast is part of. Basically think of DC Multiverse of Color as the Walt Disney Studios, and DC Podcast is a subsidiary area of Multiverse of Colors. So we're now becoming one big family, and we're not stopping with anything DC anytime soon. We have, again, like I think Vanessa's going to be the busiest host of all of us in the next coming years, because we have we're doing all the shows. We're doing all the shows here on these studios podcast. So yeah, check out my bio for all my other things. But yeah, I thanks everyone for watching our advanced review of Titan season 4 part 2. It premieres Thursday, April 13th, on HBO Max. International viewers, check with your respect. They could be on Netflix, they could be on, because I know internationally it's a little different. But yeah, don't. Yeah, I guess I should do the plugs, as we haven't done this in a while.
I
Eh,
know.
so you can visit dctvpodcast.com for all the latest news information about all the DC HBO Max TV shows, along with the latest episodes of the podcast. And you can follow the podcast on social media by going to our new handle now, which is at DC Studio Podcast on Twitter and DC Studios Podcast on Facebook. Imagine if if we paid $8 on Twitter, we could get longer handles, but whatever. Subscribe to these studios podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you listen to your podcast at. And while you're on a podcast, hit us with some 5-star reviews because we know you guys are listening. The numbers are showing that you are listening. So it's a great way to support the podcast through that way. You can follow the entire DC Podcast network of what's left because we don't have any shows left. But we have podcasts for The Flash and the remaining HBO Max shows on from DC, The Sandman, and all the upcoming movies and DC After Dark, all at DCPodcast.com. And I also recommend everyone to follow DC Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at DC Podcast. But last but not least, subscribe to our mega feed on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you listen to your podcast. We now also have, I'm excited to announce this, we have now a podcast channel on Apple Podcasts. So you can find all of the shows. You can either subscribe to the mega feed, you can just follow the channel, check it all out there. But I think Vanessa's back. Like, oh, there's a bit.
She's
Do you want me to?
There's my baby girl.
Hi, baby Ivy. How are you? You want me? Wait. Just so I know for myself. Do you want me to edit this out for like? Wait, you posted photos of her before, so people know what she looks like. I guess.
Yeah. But yes.
Yeah.
I was crying. I was like, I gotta grab her.
And of course. No, she wanted to come in and talk a little about Titans. I guess. Oh, all right. Well, when will she be like? What age would you let her watch the show?
Titans?
Yeah.
Probably not until she's like 16. It's a pretty violent show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say like probably when she's in high school at that point. I don't know. Yeah.
That's fair. TCT Podcast has its own Public source. If you're interested in DC TV related merchandise, click on the link in the show notes below and get some awesome gear up, as it's a great way to support the network so we can continue making these podcasts until David Zaslav says no more DC. I'm just waiting for him. Maybe we're text right down next time. And you can also email us at our new email address now, which is dcstudiospodcast@gmail.com for long listener feedback or other thoughts related to the DC Studios properties. That's going to be the same email now we use for all the shows. So, Green on Podcast is under that now. Just like Dark Podcast is under that now and so on. Just so it becomes a little easier, a little more streamlined for everyone. But Titans fans, we're in for a treat with these final 6 episodes. Vanessa, anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good. Until next time, y'all.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ivy.